Hello family, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for clicking. And today's tutorial I'll be using 4 mm of pearl beads, size 2 of round beads, my bias, 0.5 of fishing line, a pair of scissors, a needle, and my already covered slipper with bias. Now I'll leave a link in the description box below on how I cover my slipper with bias. Okay guys, let's get straight to the tutorial. I'm going to cut about 25 inches of the fishing line. Okay, now I'm going to pick 4 of the pearl beads. 4 of the pearl beads. Okay, then I'll place them in the middle of the fishing line. Now I'll use one side of my fishing line to pass through the last pearl bead picked. I'll use one side of my fishing line to cross through the last pearl bead picked. Then I'll pull it down. So this is what you should get after pulling it down. Now I'm going to continue by picking a pearl bead using one side of my fishing line. Then I'll use the other side to also pick another pearl bead. Then I'm going to pick additional pearl bead and cross it with both sides of my fishing line. I'll continue this step by using one side of my fishing line to pick a bead and use the other side to pick another bead. Then I'll pick additional one and cross them. Okay, so the step continues. I'll use one side to pick a bead, the other side to pick another. The additional one, I'll cross it with both sides of the fishing line. So guys, I'm going to repeat this step until I have 16 beads in the middle of the bead and 15 on both sides. I'm going to continue until I have 16 beads in the middle. Okay, now to continue, I'll use one side of my fishing line to pick 2 beads at the same side. 2 beads like this. We are turning around, so I'm picking 2 beads. I'll pick additional one and cross it with the other side of the fishing line. So as you can see, we've turned. This is how it should be. Now to continue, I'm going to pick another 2 beads. You're going to turn again. So I'm using the same side I used to pick the 2 beads to pick another 2 bead, an additional bead, then cross it with the other side of my fishing line. So if you can see clearly, if you can see what I'm doing, you could see that it's turned again. Now after that, the fishing line, which is closer to the sides of the beads, the ready beaded mat, I'll use it to pick sorry, I'll use it to pass through the immediate bead on the side of the mat. This. Okay guys, now after that I'll use the other side of the fishing line to pick another bead. Just as when we used to pick one side, when we used to pick 2 beads for both sides, this time around you pass through the sides of the mat beads, then you pick another for the other side which is not closer to the mat, then you pick additional bead and cross them. It's as simple as that. You pass through the next bead, the second bead closer to the fishing line, and use the other side to pick another bead. You pick additional and cross them with both sides of the fishing line. Okay, I'm passing through the next immediate bead and use my other side of the fishing line to pick another bead and an additional bead to cross it with both sides of my fishing line. Now you're passing the fishing line through the next bead, which is the 4th bead after turning. But then this time around we are going to turn backwards again. We're going to turn around. So this side of the fishing line that we used to pass through the sides of the beads, I'm going to use to pick 2 of the pearl beads. I'm picking 2. Then I'm going to use the other side of the fishing line to cross or to pass through the last or the second bead picked. Okay, so we've turned. We are going to turn again. I'm going to pick another 2 beads using the same side of the fishing line. Then I'll pick additional bead and cross it with the other side of the fishing line. All right. Okay, now we've turned. I'll use the side of the fishing line which is closer to this bead or the sides of the bead, the mat, to pass through the first immediate side bead. Then again, I'll use the other side of the fishing line to pick a bead. Then I'll pick additional bead and cross it with both sides of the fishing line like this. Okay, I'm going to pass through the next side bead of the mat. Then I'll use the other side to pick another bead and pick additional bead. Then Then I pick additional bead and cross it with both sides of my fishing line. I'll pass through the next side bead, then use the other side of my fishing line to pick another bead. Then I'll pick additional bead, then cross it with both sides of my fishing line. Okay, I'll pass my fishing line through the last side bead. Then again, we are going to turn around. We are going to turn downwards again. So by doing that, I'm picking 2 beads. Then I'll pass the other side of fishing line. Or I'll cross it with the other side of the fishing line through the second bead picked. Then I turn. We are going to turn again. So I'll use the same side of the fishing line, this one, and pick 2 beads. Then I'll pick additional bead and cross it with both sides of my fishing line. Okay, now we've turned the side of the fishing line closer to the beach. I'll use it to pass through the immediate side bead to the fishing line. The immediate side bead, which is this one. Okay. Now after that, I'm going to pick additional bead. I'm going to use the other side of the fishing line to pick a bead. Then I'll pick additional and cross it with both sides of my fishing line. I'll pass through the next side bead using the fishing line closer to the bead. Then I'll use the other side to pick a bead. Then again, I'll pick additional bead and cross it with both sides of my fishing line. I'm going to pass through the next side bead and use the other side of my fishing line to pick another bead. Then again, I'll pick additional bead and cross it with both sides of my fishing line. If you're observing, we're making something like a cube. So guys, we're going to turn around again. So after passing through the last side bead, the last side bead, I'm picking 2 beads as usual. Then I will pass the other side of fishing line to cross the last or the second bead picked. So we've turned, but we're actually turning upwards. So we're going to turn again. So I'll use the same side of my fishing line to pick 2 beads. Then I'll pick additional bead and cross it with the other side of my fishing line. So now we've turned upwards. So I'll use the side of the fishing line, which is closer to the sides of the bead, to pass through them. First and foremost, I'll pass my fishing line through the first immediate side bead. Then I'll use the other side to pick a bead. Then I'm gonna pick additional bead and cross it with both sides of my fishing line. I'll continue the step by passing through the next side bead. Then I'll use the other side Okay, I'm going to pass through the next side bead. Then I'm going to use the other side of my fishing line to pick another bead. Then I'll cross it with both sides of the fishing line. Now pass through the last side bead. Then again we are going to turn, so I'll use that side to pick a bead. Then I'm going to pick additional bead, which is the second bead. Then I'll cross it with both sides of the fishing line. So look what we have here. But now we're not going to turn again, but then we're going to make the marks like the other side, just like what we have here. So the key was already been formed, so we're going to continue with this. Okay. Now to do that, I'll use my fishing line to pick a bead and use the other side to also pick a bead. Then I'll pick additional bead and cross it. I don't know what you get what I'm trying to say. You use one side of your fishing line to pick a bead and the other side to pick another bead. Then you pick additional bead and cross it with both sides of the fishing line. You're going to continue with this. Repeat this until we have 10 beads on the sides of the fishing line. Pick additional bead and cross it with both sides of the fishing line. Like I said, we are repeating until we have 10 side beads, starting from where the cube ends. From where we started making this, you should have 10 beads on the sides of the mat. Or better still, you can count the other side of the design to know the number. Then you use it to continue with the new side. I count to see if both sides are equal. Then alright, now if both sides are equal, you pass your fishing line through the bead, make a loop and pull it up, and you press it firmly. You repeat it about 3 times. Do the same for the other side of the fishing line. You pass through the beads, create a loop, then pull the fishing line upwards. After doing this, to make it more secure, I'm just going to pass the excess of the fishing line through the beads before I cut it off. Okay, now after everything is done, we are going to sew it down on the slipper. I have a link to how I cover my beaded slipper in the description box below. Check it out. Please remember to subscribe if you're new to this channel, and don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you like the video. Okay, now I'm using 0.25 of the fishing line to sew it down. Before then, I threaded my needle without making a knot. I just passed the fishing line through the needle, making one side longer than the other side. Now to secure the thread on the, or to secure the fishing line on the bias before sewing, I will pass my needle through the same side or the same area on the bias for about 3 to 4 times. I'll pass my needle on the same side for about 3 to 4 times. Then I'm going to pass through the very first middle bead on my design, the first middle bead on my design. Then I'll pass it through the bias again. Then I'll pass through the side bead. Then I'll pass through the bias, then through the middle bead again. Okay, then I'll pass through the bias again. Then through the next side bead, through the bias, then through the middle bead, then through the bias. It's just a repetition thing. You pass through the bias, through the side bead, you pass through the bias again, then through the middle bead, you you pass through the bias again. The passing through the bias, you pass through the side bead. Then you pass through the bias again and through the middle bead. Then you pass through the bias again, then through the side bead. Now basically this is how you're going to do until the very end of the sewing. Okay, now reaching here, all you have to do is just be pulling up, just follow what you were doing, where you need to pull up the cube shaped design. You just pull it up, then you pass through your bias, then through the bead. That's basically it all. Okay guys, now after sewing it down on the bias, you just repeat what we did initially, just by passing your fishing line through the bias for about 3 to 4 times, just to secure it on the bias. Repeat it about 3 to 4 times. Then you cut off the excess. Okay, so this is done. This is done. So it's left with the heart shaped that we have on the design. I'll be needing a different color. I'll be using cream seed beads size 2. Then I'm going to cut about 15 inches of the fishing line. Then I'll place it here on, in the middle of the 2 front middle beads. I just place it there. Then with the two sides of the fishing line unfold, I'll first pick the size 2 gold bead, a cream seed bead, then another gold bead. Okay, just as we have on the other design. So I'm going to use one side of the fishing line to pick 7 of the size 2 gold beads. 7. Then I'll pick a size 2 cream bead. I'm going to pick another 7 beads. I'll pick another 7 beads. Then I'll count the side bead up to the 4th bead from the cube design. Then I'll pass my fishing line through the 4th bead from the cube design. Okay. Now after that, I'm going to pass my fishing line through the middle bead. After that, then I'll pass through the side bead here. Then again through the middle bead after the side bead. Then I'll come downwards through the side bead. Okay guys, now after this, I'm going to pick 5 gold seed beads. 5 gold seed bead. 5. Then I'm going to pick a cream seed bead. Then I'll pick additional 5 gold seed beads. Then this time I'm going to pass through the next bead from the next bead, side bead from the cube design. After that, I'll pass through the middle bead, then through the side bead, then the middle bead again. Then I'll come down or pass through downwards through the side bead. just as what we did to the other side. Then I'll pick 2 gold beads, 2 gold seed beads, a cream bead, then another 2 gold beads. Then again, I'm going to pass it through. I'm going to pass it through the next side bead. The next side bead. Okay. After that, I'm going to pass through the middle bead. Then I'm going to secure it on it by passing my fishing line through the holes in the bead, creating a loop. Then I pull the beads upwards. Then I'll pull the fishing line out of it. I'll repeat the step for about 3 times. Then to secure it more, I will pass it through the beads before cutting. I'll just pass in through the beads. Then I cut off the edges. Okay guys, we are going to continue what we did, or we are going to repeat what we did by picking 7 gold beads, by picking 7 gold beads, by picking 7 gold beads, a cream size 2 seed bead, and another 7 gold beads, gold beads. Then I'm going to pass it through the 4th bead, from the keep design. Okay. Now after that, I'm going to pass the fishing line through the next middle bead, then upwards through the next side bead, then through the next middle bead again, then I come down through the side bead. I'll pass my fishing line backwards and downwards through the next side bead, just as we did for the other side. I'm going to pick 5 gold beads, then a seed bead, another 5 gold beads, then I'll pass it through the next side bead on the cube shaped design, then I'll pass it through the next middle bead on the design, the next side bead upwards on the design, then the next middle bead on the design, then I'm going to come down, or I'll pass my fishing line downwards through the side bead, just as we did for the other side. So now I'm going to pick 2 seed beads, a cream bead, another 2 beads, 2 gold beads. Then I'm going to pass my fishing line upwards through the side bead on the other side. So as you can see, our heart-shaped design is formed. I'll pass through the middle bead and secure it as we did for the other side. I'll pass it through the beads, create a loop, then I'll pull out my fishing line and press it firmly. I'm going to repeat this for say 3 times or 4 times. Then after that, to secure it more firmly, I'll be passing my fishing line through the beads before I cut. Guys, thank you for watching this video. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like or you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe, share to your friends and family, and remember to comment down below on how you think the tutorial went. If you enjoyed it, comment it down below. If there's something that you didn't understand, please comment down below. Stay tuned for more videos. Bye.